Hey there, everybody. This is Cosmic Crypto, the DeFi DGen, coming at you with another video. Today's topic is core. I know I mentioned it last time, but I wanted to do a full video on it. Like I said, this is a very new project, and there are aspects of it that are, um, you know, on the surface seem risky. Like these guys are anonymous developers. I'm sure if you could figure out who they were. I mean, these domain names were registered to by somebody. So, if it comes down to, anything, but these guys that present themselves really genuinely. They have Telegram channels that they're active in almost every day, answering just the silliest questions from people. There's also Discord. So there's a good community going on. I mean, it's only a couple, when this September 28th was this first article here. But anyway, I wanted to start with the GitHub because it does have they have different links. So for whatever reason, if you can't get to one of them, hopefully another one of them will be online. These are just front ends to the D apps anyway. They a lot going on. They were really beat up in price recently, and the whole ecosystem. I'll explain. I'll just start explaining, I guess. So what they have is basically they're building off of Uniswap. So you have Uniswap pairs that you provide liquidity, and you collect the Uniswap fees. Well, they have taken that, and basically one of the issues that has been going on is with all of this yield farming. I've covered, what basically it's money printing, right? So it's unsustainable. They're just giving you governance tokens, basically a say in the future of the project, in exchange for, you temporarily providing your money. So the idea behind Core was to get money that couldn't be removed at any time. So this line here, the team behind Core was able to lock up added liquidity by using a little piece of code that prevents it from being unlocked. And so that allows for people, like the liquidity just doesn't move around on you, so you can build stuff on it. So they're thinking that if you can have something that'll build a solid yield over a few years versus a few days, then that's what is going to grow the ecosystem. What feels like we're at the beginnings of a bull market here in Ethereum and Bitcoin. And when Ethereum and Bitcoin do well, then all these other tokens do well. And this thing is like really beat up, or it's still beat up. All right, so these two developers, UX Revert and X3, are one of them is from the financial world. He was a options trader for 16 years before he became a software developer. And the other guy's more of comes from a more of a software background. So I think between the two of them, they seem to be a really good team, and are coming up with very creative, but at the same time, sustainable, and they understand the space, the finance economic space, which is something that is really important. So they've had these liquidity generation events. they're going to start the third, and they say the final one on the 27th. This coming Friday. So with these liquidity generation events, so the first one was kind of special. They basically there's 10,000 core, and that's all there will ever be. And they were created after the first liquidity generation event. So for the first liquidity generation event, they had a bunch of people deposit ETH, and then when that went for a week, and then after it was over, they essentially created Uniswap pairs with all of the core that would be minted, and then the ETH. They basically split it in half, and so that was how the tokens were minted. So then with the second event, so that created a core ETH pair on Uniswap that you could trade. And the second event was the the BTC, the Bitcoin event. So they have, and along with that Bitcoin event, that same week they announced this ERC-95, which is a wrapper around like tokens. So what they did is, so people, the second liquidity generation event created a core and what they call CBTC, which is core Bitcoin, is wrapped with this ERC-95 that was originally WBTC. So it's kind of hard to say it, but at the end of the day, they have this pair, Uniswap pair again, not breakable, with core and a CBTC, which is basically backed by a WBTC. So it's Bitcoin, so core Bitcoin pair essentially. But with this ERC-95, it adds some functionality in addition to just being able to have their little special sauce work. It has arbitrage capabilities, and so the way they're headed with this is the ability to have Greeks and options markets, and they seem like they know how to do it. But the basic economics, I got a little ahead of myself. The basic economics of the thing is there is a 1% fee whenever you transfer the token. So whether you so you can buy it and there's no fee, but if you go to sell a core or transfer it to somewhere else, there is a fee associated with it, and so that fee is how the system perpetuates itself. So they split that fee up and give it back in the form of core to the people who have the liquidity providing, to have these LP tokens. So if you have this core ETH LP token or this core CBTC ETH token, you can stake it on the website here, the cvault.finance, and it will earn you core rewards that you can do with however you want. So here is a Crypto X-Man. He's active on Twitter and in the Telegram and Discord. This is his art, or his latest graphic. So right now, they're saying that liquidity generation events are this is gonna be the last one. So the third and final liquidity generation event is going to be core and DAI. So that's this core DAI here. So there's the core ETH I was talking about, and then the core CBTC staking rewards. And they're calling this phase 0. And so in this ERC-95, there's also this arbitration stuff that they've implemented. If you go to their website, and this is another thing. There's so much to talk about with this project. So this is right now preloaded into the new LGE is already 10,000 ETH that came from these other 3 projects that were core forks that they've acquired because they didn't go anywhere, I guess. So the next LGE is already preloaded with this much ETH. And so the arbitrage stuff, though, is a tab on the router. And so right now there's 127 different strategies. And like they're just simple ones like, hey, if the price of CBTC is too low, then you can execute arbitrage to bring that into parity and then collect a fee. So these, it looks like you're supposed to click on these buttons, and you can, but that's not the intent. This is supposed to be used by bots. So actually, they've got this plan. I don't know if it's going to happen, but they talked about buying an ETH mining farm because ETH mining is going out of favor or out of style when they go to proof of stake with 2.0, because the some of this arbitrage, if you have a miner, then you win a block, then you have the ability to kind of include the transactions you want to include. And if there are arbitrage transactions that can make you money, then you can include those and benefit even more than just if you're not the miner block winner. So there's a lot of aspects of that I don't know if we'll see. I mean, I think it'll have time to play out. We'll see if it does, because like ETH2 is coming, so the miner proof of work arbitrage will go away once proof of stake, because it's deterministic. It's not going to be like you can pick and choose which transactions to include. So there's that. Again, like I said, there's really a lot to talk about. Let's go back to this Crypto X-Man. All right, so what happens is there is Uniswap has a 0.3% fee on everything that is within the Uniswap ecosystem. And so the way that's paid out is in the form of fees in whatever the pair of, so core ETH or core CBDC or whatever, you'll get 0.3% relative to your proportion of those fees of the pool when there's a trade made. And so that is always increasing the value of these pairs, and that's what they call the total value permanently locked. So you normally, and I'm not a ETH programmer, but from what I understand, there's something about that, because normally you wouldn't be able to access those funds until you withdrew the liquidity. But in this case, there is no withdrawing liquidity, so they just keep piling up inside. But apparently, there's a way to access it. And actually, so this arbitrage stuff I was talking about, this is what they're trying to model here, or demonstrate a graphic for. So you have the guy who originates the arbitrage, or the arbitrage. So it could be just somebody clicking the button on a website, or a bot looking for certain conditions, or a Ethereum miner looking for certain conditions and then finding a block. And a flash loan, we can talk about flash loans later, but they're basically you can borrow money, and as long as you pay it back in the same transaction, then you pay a fee, and everything's it's just a way of using liquidity that's not yours. But again, there's a lot of, they claim that and these devs are smart enough that they may have it figured out. They're going to give it, we'll see. They claim that this ERC-95 and some of the way the data collecting mechanisms they have inside of this is too expensive to game. And I know they have the fee on transfer. I'm going to talk about this more in just a second, but they have upped the fee on transfer. So this, where is it here? Yeah, this 1% fee on transfer. So right now that is changed to 8% at the moment, and it can go up to as high as 25.5%. And the reason they did this is because at the beginning of this LGE2 with the Bitcoin, there was a lot of gaming, right? So there's a lot of people that bought up Core. So the price of Core was really high at the beginning of the event. And so, like, for instance, if you put in ETH at the very beginning of LGE2, so ETH was at like $375 or something, and Core was at like 7,000, and it's at like 3,000 now. So you really took a haircut if you put in ETH at the beginning of LGE2, and I think the devs realize that, and I think that's one of the reasons this thing is so beat up, and so many people kind of folded, I guess. But I believe in this project for a lot of reasons. I just get a good feeling about where this is headed, and the team, and even the community. It seems to be growing, and I'm really bullish on it. But this whole fee on transfer thing, right? So they are, I guess they were concerned because as I was showing you guys, they've got this 10,000 ETH, and ETH is on a tear, right? So ETH is going to be, what is it? It pulled back a little bit this morning, but it broke through 500 and was pushing 600. This is on the November 22nd. And people, it just feels like it's parabolic. I know it's a year early, but it feels like there's just a lot of hype. You see Bitcoin being mentioned in the news. PayPal, apparently selling more Bitcoin than are mined in a day. Grayscale is buying Bitcoin like crazy. So there's a lot of hubbub, and this is right now. Even XRP had like a 50% day yesterday, which is unheard of. And this coin is still, where is it, 3,400. So what they've done is they've instituted they've upped this fee, right? So right now it's 8%. It's not 8% to buy, but it's 8% to sell or transfer. So they are what they're doing is trying to disincentivize the whales from manipulating the price ahead of this LGE. But I think it's setting up to be a perfect scenario because they're sitting on all this ETH, and I see the price of ETH relative to DAI increasing potentially substantially between now and when this event starts or whenever they actually buy this. So it's going to increase the price of core. So they got to market by core, and they're going to get more DAI than they would have otherwise because the price of ETH is high. So this is going to be, I think that LGE2 kind of was a stinker, but this thing is going to turn out to be really, really a good deal, I think, for the whole ecosystem. And then at that point, they're in phase 1, which is like, making this is like their base minimum viable product, I guess you could say. And then so phase 1 is optimizing this arbitrage and making money off of this liquidity that's constantly gaining at 0.3% of every time something happens in here, that these things grow. And this is outside of people adding new liquidity. And then this last thing I'll talk about, one of the issues that they've had is that there's secondary market, so you can sell the LPs on Balancer, for instance. And because of all this, stuff with the stinker LGE2 and uncertainty and FUD and just market cycle stuff, the price of the LPs has taken a big hit. So really, the LPs, it's just not financial advice, but this is just a great time to just look at this product because they are moving and shaking. Just the fact that they had all these people copy them says a lot about, just the innovation that they're doing. And I just, anyway, I guess I'm gushing, but it is a great opportunity from where I sit at the moment. But it could, who knows, that they could have a bug. They have been audited. Their code has been audited. But that doesn't mean anything. They're still, and these guys are anonymous. They could, I think the more money they have, then the more probability of, some kind of federal investigation. Blockchain's not, especially Ethereum, it's a small community. There's a reason that they, if you notice, a lot of times these hacks and stuff, they can figure it out. It's not right now it's very public, and maybe there'll be privacy stuff come along, and I think it's important we do have those tools for the right circumstances. But I think there's also a lot to be said for having stuff out in the open and in public, and so I'm glad it's there. Anyway, so don't zap right now, guys. Don't do that. You'll just lose money. So on the website, where is it? So you go to the router. Don't do this. Okay. You go to, if you want to invest in the LPs, you go to Balancer. So go to corecharts.info, and then go to Balancer LP prices. And they've got these links here. So here's the ETH core, and then the CBTC core, and these are the LPs. And so right now, the way they did the LGE2 is kind of weird because there's only like 0.003 total LPs. So they came up with a centimilli LP, and this guy who did this website, I'm assuming he's a guy, sorry if you're a girl, micro LP. So this 1.75 micro LP, but if you look at everything else, like the core stuff, it says centimilli, which is 10 to the minus 5 versus 10 to the minus 6. But anyway, you can see that, so 1.94 ETH for something that the underlying value of at today's prices. There's another site, corefarming.info. All right, so WETH LP1 value. So for the That's $3,000 worth of underlying value, and you can't break this apart. Now, this is just the underlying value, and it means, a lot of people tell you it means nothing, and it doesn't. At this point, it does mean nothing. And I think the only point it will mean more is, I mean, they say the return, is really all they care about. But at this point in the game, I think, like they have these weights that determine the payout percentage relative, to pools, and it's way weighted to the BTC has way more of a return, but in that, so that makes the ETH one be a lot less relative to its underlying value. But anyway, so this $3,000 is 1.94 ETH, which is it's like a 30% or something. So it's these things are really beat up, and I think there's opportunity to even just trade these. But what you do is, if you want to stake and get rewards, you would go to this balancer link here, and you would trade whatever ETH or whatever USDC or whatever you want to trade, and then you can go to the core site and stake them. So when you go to, I think whenever you have on this page here, when you have the LP tokens in your wallet, you'll have an option to stake. If not, you go to the farm. This one of these two tabs, but this wallet's just empty. So 8.5% is the current fee on transfer. So they can, like I said, go up to 25.5, and it's very interesting because this has made the APYs really go zoom, right? So you got, I mean, I wish I had a chart. Well, I don't know if CoreCharts has an APY or not, but anyway, so 86% ROI on the year and 156% for the Bitcoin one, and that's because of the way they've got these weights. They've got these allocation points, and these 75 and 25. Supposedly they're going to change these weights to where they automatically adjust based on volume, which would be nice because I think that would make the ETH pair a lot more profitable as far as return. But anyway, there's just so many things about this project, and it's only a couple of months old, or 3, who knows? It seems like a year, but every day, so that they've got this. I don't know how much they're going to ratchet up this this fee on transfer, but basically, because you can buy and not have to pay the fee, so they're disincentivizing people to sell, which is interesting because if you're going to be a whale, and basically people with a lot of money, they call them whales, manipulated this price, and that's why it was the way it was, and they kind of saw the right, the people that manipulated the price up to 7K or whatever at the beginning of the last LGE knew what they were doing, and they ended up draining a lot of funds out of it because of the way it worked out. But I think these guys are on it, and they're definitely, because the people that benefit from this 8.5% are the ones that are staking in the, that you're getting the rewards, because that's why this is going to go zoom. And I don't know, they have said something about initially going back to 1%, but then I saw some kind of comment by one of the devs in Telegram that said, maybe 1% is not optimal. So it's a lever that they can manipulate, and they just started tweaking the button. So we'll see what happens. This video probably went longer than I should have, but I wanted to really kind of get as much information as I could out there about this project, because I feel like it's a good time to get in, and it's not financial advice, but any spare change I have, this is where it's headed right at the moment. But we're at the beginning of a bull market, so congrats everybody who's up in your portfolio. Thanks, and I'll talk to you next time. Like and subscribe if you like the content, and leave a comment. Thanks.